Y como decía, vamos a analizar cómo han cambiado estos riesgos. Empezamos, si os parece, con una perspectiva global, esa perspectiva que tenéis cada uno de vosotros desde vuestros ámbitos. ¿Qué riesgos creéis que están afectando más a las empresas en términos generales? Antonio, comenzamos contigo.
Muy bien, muchas gracias, Mónica, y gracias a INCIBE y a León por acogernos en esta vuelta a los eventos semipresenciales, por lo menos. Bueno, desde nuestro punto de vista como agencia de calificación, que se nos utiliza sobre todo en lo que tiene que ver con gestión de riesgo de terceros, yo diría que uno de los grandes retos que estamos afrontando en este momento es que nos estamos dando cuenta de que no todo lo que hemos hecho en el pasado en cuanto a protegernos a nosotros mismos es suficiente, que tenemos que garantizar que todo el ecosistema con el que estamos colaborando o trabajando tiene un nivel de seguridad al menos tan bueno como el nuestro, porque si no al final todas nuestras inversiones en seguridad son inútiles porque, bueno, si el fallo viene de un tercero, pues al final el problema está ahí, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que uno de los grandes retos que estamos afrontando es darnos cuenta de que necesitamos garantizar que no solo nosotros, sino todo el ecosistema con el que estamos trabajando reúne unos estándares de seguridad mínimos o equiparables a los nuestros, y eso supone un reto grandísimo.
And this is a huge challenge because we interact with dozens of or hundreds of companies in our sphere of control. This is a huge challenge that we face as a sector. The whole ecosystem needs to be secure. Yeah, those risks in the supply chain that you're mentioning have already been referred to earlier. Cesar, what's your view on this? Good afternoon. Thanks very much for having me. Thanks to the organization and to the panel. I would say that organizations every day face challenges. These risks result in losses, financial losses, and also in shutting down businesses. This kind of risks can be tackled with different strategies, with plans of response to incidents, with putting up a guiding plan. This is a tool that implements actions to reduce risks. Especially us, my company is specialized in recovering data. And we specialize also in obsolescence in hardware and software, lack of provision in the most sensitive parts of a company. And as a consequence of this, there is a loss of information and oftentimes the shutting down businesses. Yes, we have to take this into account because the consequences can be very severe. Paloma, from your perspective, what is your opinion? Thank you. Well, in my opinion, the biggest risk that we face is the fact that we are not able to manage the risk, the never-ending change that we are in, both the society and companies. That is the biggest risk. There has been changes in the way we work, in the way we relate to each other, to our family, to our teams, and there are changes in international trade, Brexit, the relationship with the Asian world. Right now, the recovery plan has two main axes, and we need to put our view into getting closer to the Agenda 2025, and that is the risk right now. We're going to solve things and not preventing things. We need to work on the prevention. We need to work on a culture of risk prevention, to implement changes in policies, not to change policies midstream. For instance, if there is a change of policy, the way we tackle incidents does not change. José, what's your opinion? For me, the risks, well, first of all, thanks very much for having me here. For me, the risks are the same: the lack of cybersecurity culture, systems are not properly patched, either because of lack of culture or of lack of time. But we are putting the focus on security now. I have several examples. In the regional government of Malaga, they come to me and they say, I would like to have this firewall assessed, and this shows maturity. They are worried about their firewall being properly updated, or these products that we're going to use to connect with all the users. So I see more maturity. So I see this maturity outside the sector. The risks are the same. We need to keep on working on prevention. Yes, and raise awareness, especially to those that are not present here today. In this regard, SMEs and professionals are some of the most exposed groups. Yes, I'm going to give you a piece of data provided by IBM that says that more than 75% of companies do not have a management plan and a plan to prevent incidents. And on top of that, this pandemic has accelerated that companies, and especially SMEs, they have to assume this policy of teleworking, and that poses a huge challenge. So we are encountering companies with employees working from home and have not changed the password of the Wi-Fi since they've got it. So that person is not adapting themselves to the new way of working. Most of these companies believe that this management plan or these policies are too complex, but we can start with something small, which are the risks, the main threats, the main challenges of every organization, and from that build up and create a plan against incidents. Well, first of all, I'd like to ask a question. Well, not ask a question. I shall mention a question that I often get asked. People tell me, why am I going to be attacked? But the real question is, when are you going to be attacked? So all this is impacting the security breaches, obsolescence, ransomware in many different ways that is coming to us in every possible way. Yeah, automation of fraud, machine learning, and deep learning. So 2.0 of machine learning, attacks on the cloud, which is where we have most of our information now, and cyber spying as well, which is something that happens more often than we usually tend to believe. So use patents, copying procedures, patents, etc. Yeah, I am aware that you are going to be attacked, so I help you to prevent that. So we were saying earlier that companies need to be aware that that risk needs to be managed. How are organizations tackling this issue? Well, I think even if this morning this seemed to be the most cybersecure nation in Europe, well, I'd like to have that feeling when I talk to people, but SMEs or bigger companies are not considering cybersecurity risks. They lack the knowledge, they are not aware of the problem, and they feel unprotected because no one is guaranteeing that what they buy is secure. They cannot go to anyone to assess that what they're buying is reliable, but the administration is not guaranteeing that what they buy in the market is secure. It's like buying a washing machine. Buying a washing machine goes through a series of tests, and some cybersecurity applications do not. So I think cybersecurity is not part of the day-to-day strategy of many companies. Yes, so we're going to go a bit deeper into the cybersecurity rules. So is risk analysis being represented good enough? Yes, I think so. In 2015, when the ISO 9001 norm was revised, there was a chapter that was included regarding context analysis, and from that a common structure was created for data management, in which you implement different norms, for instance 27001, and so we are moving forward in that sense, and there are framework rules that are tools to support what we'll mention this morning. Think before click. Thinking before clicking. What are the risks, or what happens if that happens, and that way the company can establish and set up procedures to fight against that. And the technological risk is an area in which we are moving forward as well. We have norm on technological risks, and we have norms on new technologies or disruptive technologies that are beginning to be sold now. There are 2 international norms to manage security and privacy. So we are moving forward at a steady rhythm. And we are working on that before companies buy those products. Yeah, we have mentioned earlier norms like LEET. Can you please tell us about this norm? Yeah, I think LEET has helped a lot. I want to be a bit more optimistic than Antonio. I see some optimism. For instance, Iberdrola requires manufacturers to comply with the LEET norm. The government of Andalusia would like to be in a cybersecurity catalog. 5 years ago, we were preaching in the desert. LEET is a tool that has a lot of potential because the certification on cybersecurity was like a black hole. Everything was obscure. But now we see that there can be some return on investment on this. So the government of Malaga, etc. So there's some sensitivity. People start to feel concerned about this. They want to be secure. But we cannot ask for the moon from one day to the other. We need to push forward to be where we want to be. And LEET is an initiative started by the CCN. There was a similar French initiative, but what's interesting about LEET is that CCN has included it in its catalog. It has allowed the democratization of these processes, and something that has been launched in Europe, which is similar methodology to LEET. So I think the world is changing. There was a big wall, but I think we are tearing down that wall, and all of us we can push forward. Antonio, César, and then Paloma. Well, from my point of view, maybe I feel pessimistic today. I don't know. I think the common criteria certification were born in the 90s, so that's 30 years ago. We started with the certifications 30 years ago. Yeah. So the certification is not the solution to everything. We are in a situation in which the certification is not enough, and we need to look for alternatives. So a few months ago, there has been an initiative in the financial sector based on the security of the sector, and this has helped a lot the financial sector. So we need to evolve. I know that status quo is very powerful, and it pushes for things to remain as they are, but things are changing, and the environment is still insecure. And it seems that nothing happens if there is a security problem, but if you have a data breach, you have a penalty. But we need to do something, because the way we are working now, we are not providing solutions to the consumers. Yes, I would like to defend the UNE initiatives and all the norms that are being put into place related to authentication and digital IDs, because this allows for the security of some other advancements, such as the autonomous vehicle, sharing on the cloud, etc. So on the one side, we are making progress in the way that the citizen is able to manage data, but we also have some vulnerability. So yeah, that needs to be balanced. Thank you, Cesar. From the UNE, the Spanish Norms Agency, we are here to make life easier for everyone. But I would like to highlight the importance of the LEET project. It is a project, Spanish project, Spain brand project. It has been done in a committee of normalization with people coming from several sectors, and that's resulted into a norm. And from Spain, we've gone to Europe. And that doesn't happen very often in the technology field. And Europeans have accepted it. We have the support of Germany and Austria, and it is close to becoming a European norm on cybersecurity, which is a case of success of the model of collaboration in normalization initiatives. What other initiatives can help the companies on top of fostering cybersecurity? Well, I would like to mention what Europe is doing. The European certification framework. We are dealing with 5G. Europe believes in certification, and Spain is also there. Europe is creating a label, okay, on certification. In Spain, we have the national cybersecurity plan. No matter what we call it, we need to trust and make people trust and have confidence when they buy. As long as the standards are open and there is free competition and companies can benefit from it, all initiatives are welcome and interesting. Antonio was saying that the final consumer is not aware of this. Yes, well, yeah, I would like that my kids' toys have a label on cybersecurity. Yes, yeah. What I was saying is that we, in a way, we're deceiving ourselves. I talked to many people. Last week, I wanted to buy a CRM tool, and it was not clear to me what the certification was of that product. So we cannot leave things as they are. We are shielding ourselves to those that do not invest on security because they don't have incentives to prove if that product is secure or not. So we have to take a step ahead. And I'm not against certification, but I think everything has their own use. If something is a hammer, is not a screwdriver. So let's imagine a user that says, we go to that user and we tell him we have this certification and this one and this one and this one. So they go crazy. So we are making a lot of noise that is beneficial to that who hides behind the certification to make it look like they are secure. Yeah. Well, there are many cases. There are cases and cases. Yeah. In the case of LEET, the CCN are the ones that verify and give the seal of verification. Yeah. Yeah. We received a while ago a client that said that had been hacked because an administration company that was working with them advised them to buy lunch tickets from someone else, from another company, and that third company was insecure, and because of that, that client was hacked. So the user becomes powerless. So at some point they lose that security, and they don't know it. So in a nutshell, either it is the company or the user, we should have the security that what we are buying is secure. I would like to end with a round of conclusions. What is the message that I would like to share with the audience, and with an optimistic, positive message? Yes, I think the administration has to take a step ahead, and we need transparency on cybersecurity, responsibility, and accountability to those that do not invest on cybersecurity. Yes, so my message to the SMEs and larger companies is put up plans, management plans, and raise awareness among your employees. Paloma, I think it would be good to increase the coordination between all the agents that working on different initiatives. Some initiatives are similar, some others are different, but the final user should have more clarity on this. Yes, very important. Jose, please. Yes, I think we need to ask companies to spend on cybersecurity. There are mechanisms to do this. That's the way to raise awareness. Yes, it's also up to all of us. We need to demand that security. Thanks very much, Antonio, Cesar, Paloma, Jose. Big round of applause, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.